Um, this is David. I just wanted to do this video for YouTube so that everybody could grasp what this is all about with this recent terrorism going on in Paris. The United States is saying that they're going to help France, but at the same time, they're not saying to anybody what is the real hidden agenda behind this from these terrorists. And I wanted to give my opinion about it. I think it's clear that here we're about to allow 20,000 of these refugees to come in here from Hungary and Turkey, or 200,000. And they could actually be these same kind of insurgent groups that attacked in Paris in the last 24 hours. And they could be doing this in every other country where these refugees are being permitted to come in. And what is the outcome? Well, you're going to have a massive global terrorist attack of major cities. And it won't be just Paris. It's going to be New York. It'll probably be Los Angeles. It'll be Ontario. It'll be Quebec. It'll be Ottawa, Calgary. I don't think they'll probably attack Mexico because there's nothing there for them to get, you know. But I think it's the beginning. I think this is just the precursor. And perhaps maybe this is like a rogue group that began the whole process because it was Friday the 13th yesterday. And they could have used that as a kind of like a pre-warning to all the other insurgent groups that are coming into other countries to prepare, because this is what we expect everybody to perform and do when this whole thing starts. And I'm not going to say it's all going to be done based on any particular day. It's not going to be based on probably any particular time frame. It's just, they're probably saying, let's just do this at the most unnormal date they can find, and then it'll all happen. And you know, if they've got suicide bombers already in Europe, and you think, oh, it's not going to come here to the United States, well, guess what? How did they get through security at that stadium where the president of France was, with bombs strapped to themselves, unless there was some other issue here? Either the security was negligent, it didn't exist, and they weren't checking people to make sure that they weren't coming into the place with something that potentially had explosives in it. I mean, we've already had a similar thing at the Boston Marathon a couple of years ago. You know, they came in there and they detonated bombs against the runners. And you think, well, that's the United States right there. And no, they didn't have them strapped to themselves, but they still could get the bombs planted before it actually could have been stopped, you know, and they carried it out. So what we're seeing in this country is stupidity, first of all, on the part not only of the president himself, but our security could not protect the United States even as far back as when it all started in 2001. And within a couple of hours after 9/11 took place, and you had both the trade centers destroyed, this is what the FBI came on television when asked, how come you guys didn't foresee this happening? Why didn't y'all have intelligence? They said, we can't protect everybody. And that's verbatim. That's what the FBI told the networks. You are always going to be on your own. The military cannot protect you because they couldn't protect those people in the trade centers. They couldn't protect the Pentagon. They couldn't protect any of the air flights. And in 14 years since that happened, it's no better. We pay more money, they take more money, but they aren't giving us any more protection than they did before 9/11. And I would say if you don't have supplies stocked up, you should, because once this thing starts up, who can say how far it'll escalate? It could very likely escalate as far as it being a nuclear war. The terrorists are smart enough that they know how to get their hands on stuff. And Our military is a complete joke, and you can see that every time you listen what's going on. Obama cutting the budget. There are probably no security measures in place on key places in the United States where there were nuclear missiles. And the terrorists could walk probably right in there, and the government wouldn't be able to stop them. Or if they were to try to, they'd probably say, well, because of budget constraints, we don't have enough security at this place or that place, and it's inevitable. It's going to happen. They're going to get their hands on it. So, Paris is a precursor, folks. It's a wake-up call, and if you don't listen, and if you don't care, then you may not even wake up tomorrow morning, because everything could be ash in 24 hours. It could be ash in 2 days. It could be ash in the next hour. And our government continually increases everything we pay for, and we're not getting anything for it. And look at the U.S. Postal Service. That's an absolute joke. And that's why people aren't using their services anymore, because they know full well that we've had an increase in postage rates for the past decade, and the service is worse today than it was before they started the increases. And they kept saying, oh, we're going to upgrade our equipment, so we're not going to have any damaged mail or lost mail anymore. And now it's 3 times as bad as it was before. So this is sort of like an overview, I guess, of how screwed up everything is as far as our government's concerned. And it goes all the way across the board. And I don't think it's going to get any better. And I also will say this. Obama is probably going to still be in the White House by 2017. I don't think he's leaving anytime, even after the so-called election that's coming up next year. I think Donald Trump is the best candidate for one reason. He tells it like it is, and he doesn't hide or lie behind the same kinds of crap that Obama got away with when he ran in 2008. And you got all these colleges across the country kind of just up in an uproar about every little thing they can think of, because they know they screwed up this whole thing. They were the ones that voted for Obama. And now they're finally grasping, hey, you know what? We really screwed up, didn't we? It's too late. You can't change what you've already done. And that's why they're complaining and griping about every other little thing they can find out, like racial tension or bias towards one particular gender over another. They're probably the key individual group of this country who is pushing about transgenders and homosexuality being accepted in society, if not shoved in your face. And that is not what America was ever founded on. You have the right of choice, and you have a right of freedom to choose what you believe in. And it's not up to some brat college student who's 18, 19, 21 years old telling the rest of society, you got to live the way we tell you to. That's what Obama's been saying since 2008. So, in conclusion, I'm going to only say this once. Obama is a dictator, and he is a tyrant, and the more he does that destroys this country, the faster it will go over to either the terrorists themselves or somebody else that he admires. And he loves the Muslims, because that's why he keeps telling people, this is not a war against Muslims. This is not a war against any kind of religion that honors Muhammad. And he will attack maliciously a Christian, because he says, well, Christians are the ones who incite all this hate. And he's got it totally screwed up on that, because Christians do not incite hate. The Muslims themselves, Islam, and it's not this crap called radical Islam either. They all represent the same religion because they all believe the same religion. They both acknowledge that Muhammad is their great leader, and Obama adheres to that philosophy. And that's why he keeps telling people, we will not have hate or feelings of hate towards Muslims. And it's sort of like that dictator attitude coming into it again. Nope, 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 nope. I'm not going to tolerate this, blah, blah, blah. If that doesn't prove he's a Muslim himself, I don't see what else can prove it. And somebody ought to put a secret camera in his chambers wherever he prays, and I guarantee you, every day his face is at the ground, facing east towards Mecca. And the Secret Service already divulged that fact in one interview that they made, that he goes and prays 8 or 6 or 5 times, maybe 4 times a day. And if you're a Christian, you can pray anywhere. It doesn't have to be in a specific place, and it certainly doesn't have to be on the ground kissing the dirt. A Muslim has to do that. That's a part of their religion. And if Obama's being unseen 4 times a day, then it's not because he's praying. He's praying to the ground, and that's proof enough to me. So, Paris is a dangerous situation, yes, but it's only the beginning. It's only the beginning of what's probably going to end up happening in the very, very near future. So, please wake up. Don't keep thinking that you can create the world the way you want it to be, because it's not going to work. That function is not going to work that way. You can ostracize and you can condemn people who have their own opinions, but you're not going to eradicate people's decisions and their own personal choices, what they believe in. I don't care how much you try to shove that in people's faces. You're not going to do it. All you're going to end up doing is create more hate against you, if not more violence, because it can only go so far before it breaks. The chain is like this. It's getting worse and worse, and before you know it, it's going to just break. And then sane civilization as we knew it is going to be totally gone, and there won't be anybody to pick up the pieces, because then you're just going to have race wars and internal coups against the government and everything else, because people cannot tolerate it indefinitely, no matter how the government says, oh, well, we control you already. We control your life already. It's going to have to give. Somebody's going to have to say, enough is enough. This crap has gone on too long. We got to stop right now what we're doing. We have to start taking over as the people of the United States again, because the government's supposed to be there for us. We're not supposed to be there for them. We don't pay taxes so that we can turn around and subjugate ourselves to every little thing that the government says, well, we know what's best for you. It's like, no, you know what's best for you. You're an American citizen. And that's not really true, because most people are now here illegally, or they're here from other countries who don't grasp what freedom is all about. They come here because they just want an easier way of life. And they don't understand the concepts of what our Constitution was founded on. And that kind of does help the government, doesn't it? Because the faster that they can create a society of idiots who don't care and don't know, the faster that they can shred up that Constitution and say, well, the United Nations has their own Constitution. Let's adopt that. It sounds better than what we've got right now. And that's what Obama's been instigating. And if you don't think martial law can happen, he can initiate this whole thing after all these other terrorist groups start their little fiasco across the country of the United States and all over the world. That's a perfect igniter for him to say, wait a minute, it's getting out of control too fast. I got to initiate martial law. Then he don't have to leave office. Boom, he's there forever. You have no choice anymore. All you've got is just conformity to what Obama says. And that's dangerous. So please wake up, folks, and please don't play this stupid game anymore, thinking that what is happening is just a fly-by-night thing that's going to end. It's not going to end. It's just going to get worse. And that's why we got to try and do something as a nation. We got to try to take back what's left of our country, what little there is. Thank you.